everyone, this is Jessica from Jessica's Painting and Crafts, and today I thought we would do an acrylic painting. And the acrylic painting is going to be a winter scene with some snowy trees and a rabbit. But I wanted to show you what I was using. I'm not using a canvas. I'm actually using some oil and acrylic paper that you can paint on. Here's what it looks like. It actually does have, hopefully this light will show, it does have a little texture to it. And it is a thin paper. This in particular paper is made by Canson. I don't know if you can see that, but it's made by Canson. It's for oil and acrylics. It's got 24 sheets in it. 136 pound. So we'll see. It's a brand new pack of paper. We'll see how it holds up to the acrylic paint. But first off, what I would like to do is I am going to start with my palette, and I'm going to be using Phthalo Blue, and I am going to be using some titanium white, burnt umber, and the green, a deep green permanent of the Liquitex in particular is the color that I'm going to be using. And so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm first going to start with just kind of doing some outlines of where things are actually going to be on my painting. I do have a reference photo that I am looking at to use. It looks like things are, it's not flat. And then it looks like there's a tree right here in the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. And it looks like there's probably some sort of tree, you know, here. And then there is a taller tree. I'll bring this up as well. And then it looks like there's a taller tree over here. But this one stands out the most. So, and it's not going to go quite as tall. But I'm going to start in the middle, start mixing up some colors. I think I'm going to try the deep green permanent and put it in my palette. Just a small amount. And I will use a number 8 bright. I'm going to get a little water on my brush and some titanium white with just a small amount of the green. And I'm just mixing them together. And I feel like it needs more of the titanium, so I'm going to go over to the side and mix a little more. We'll put just a tinge more white in it because this is going to be the lightest area, and I want to make sure that I get it pretty light in the middle. So it looks like I'm going to come in here and just kind of go around. It kind of goes, it looks like, down through here. I'm going to get a little bit of water on my brush just to help the flow. I did not add any paint. There's plenty of paint on my brush. Just going to make some X shapes going back and forth. Just got more water on my brush because I want it to be the lightest here in this area, and if I don't want to go back in, and because I still have plenty of paint on the brush. Alright, so I'm going to clean my brush and get probably just a tinge of the straight white. out some more. Just put out small amounts so I don't use a bunch all at one time. Clean my brush out. I'll dry it off. Get some of the water. It may still have just a little bit of green in it, but that's okay. I'm just going to go in and kind of lighten that up. I'm going to rinse my brush off now. Hopefully when I can get some other things set up so you can see everything that's going on in my palette eventually. I am going to try a different product. I have used one time. We'll see how it goes. It is going to be this acrylic gloss medium. I'm going to try to use it as an agent to help blend. Not sure if it will work, but we're certainly going to try it out. It can't hurt. And that way you'll know, whether you would even want to invest in the product. So, I got the same brush, same size, number 8. I am going to go in now with, I'm going to grab just a little bit of my phthalo blue that I have mixed with white. And I'm just going to start going around this. I may even deepen that color up just a tinge. Yeah. Just a tinge. Get some water on my brush. And I think I'm going to go in with actually even a larger brush and see how that works out. It has some blue on it. I'll pick up some blending medium. It just seems like it kind of toned it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to take I think this is going to be like a hog bristle. Actually it's a child's brush. And I'm just going to see if I can go in and just soften all of this. Just an experiment. I have none of the agent on my brush to help these edges. And in fact, something that's good to do when you're going back in to blend, let me clean that brush out and get a lot of the water out of it because it will really suck the water up, is go back into the light color itself and, help go back out and help this blend. Just still making that X motion. So that looks pretty good. I did not wet my brush again, but I am going to pick up some white, just white. Just some of the titanium white. With just a small amount of the green, and go back into the center, and I'm just lightening it up. Alright, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to start picking up some more blue and make it darker and darker. I'm going to put just a tinge of blue and a little bit of now the blue when I'm speaking of is the phthalo blue. So I'm going to go out here and start filling in everything. Can always go back in and kind of lighten it up, which I think I'm going to do now with just white. I did not pick up any blue on my brush. Just picked up some white. May get just a tinge of water on my brush just to help it move along. This paper size also, it's a small size. It's actually around an 8 by 10 is the size of it. Still picking up small amounts of blue. Getting some water on my brush. When you see that happening and you can start seeing some of the white that's through it, get some water on it. It will help, you know, spread that paint around, just small amounts, just dipping your brush in and then pulling it back out. And it'll help because you've got, I mean, like I've got plenty of water on this brush. Okay, I think I'm gonna go in and see if I can just kind of smoothing over some of the edges. Just lightly. There's like nothing on my brush other than what paint it's picking up that hasn't dried. Cleaning that brush back out. And now I'm going in for much deeper blues because I want them on the outer edges. So this is going to be mostly phthalo blue with very little water that's been added, or even white. I am going to dip my brush and pick up some more paint. And I'm just going to try to, you know, paint these outer edges and get it filled in. And then I'll go back in and start doing some blending. The paper, being that it's on paper, that's a little more difficult of a task, I can tell, because it's moving. It has the spring back, and so it's a little more difficult. But I'll go ahead and I'll go around the outer edges, and I'll bring you back once I get that finished. Okay, I wanted to bring you back for just a few things that I have done on my painting. It's not completely dry by no means, but I took some of the deep phthalo blue and just started out the outer edges and just barely, I'm just barely touching this canvas paper. Doing that, it's gonna, once we get everything on it, it's actually gonna bring your eye to the center, which is where the main tree is going to go. But I went and some of this is going to be hidden. I've also just kind of begun doing the line of pretty much where I'm going to draw out and put snow. You know, so there's going to be a dip here, and it's going to kind of elevate even more on this side. And there'll also be a tree here. And I did take some white and just kind of put it in the middle, mixed slightly with the permanent green. And I just went and that's all I've done is just pick up more phthalo blue and started bringing it in. So my brush is a little bit dry, so I just dipped it in water. But you just keep doing that and then allow it to dry. I'll bring you back after it gets dry. Hey everyone, this is Jessica. I'm back, and I am going to actually I took a little bit of burnt umber and phthalo blue and just mixed them together. I'm going to make it fairly dark. I'm just looking at my reference photo as well. I'm going to make it fairly dark back in here, just like a wash really. Could be trees in the background. We don't know what's back there. Could be mountains. And I'm just going to kind of phase it off. And I'm going to fill in the base. It's just to give it a little change of color, because we really don't know what's back there. It's a nighttime scene. And I'll make sure everything is painted along the edge. And just pretty much darken the base up. Looks like a hillside with, you know, a lot of trees. I'm going to get my brush just a little bit more on the wet side and go in, and even here I'm just going to kind of, you know, fan that out. So looks like these are very, very far, and either this is a mountain or a, you know, with a ton of trees on it. It's a little bit closer to us, but not close enough that we actually know or can see the detail that's there. So I'm just tapping in some of that color, and I'm going to do the same here, all the way up. This paper is certainly more difficult, in my opinion, to paint on. I would definitely stick with a canvas panel or even a canvas itself. Probably won't paint on the paper again unless it's just for practice. But nonetheless, so I'm going to clean my brush out, and I'm going to get I'm going to put out just a little bit more phthalo blue. Just a small amount. And I'm going to use phthalo blue and a small amount of white. I'm also picking up some of the acrylic gloss. I think I want that just a tinge deeper. And I'm going to kind of go in and just start, you know, marking on this outline here just a little bit. And I'm going to do the same here. It's going to be darker, much darker in the back than per se what it's going to be up front. And I'm just going to put just a little bit of shadows in, just to give it just a little bit of depth. And then just kind of cleaning these edges up here. And notice I'm not painting everywhere. If I was, then it's certainly going to change the dynamic. I'm not painting it all in one color. So it's going to move your eye a little bit, and you're going to see, you know, it's going to give it some dimension. And then I will go back in once this is dried probably, and add maybe some white. I may do the white at the very, very last, probably will. After, I'm going to let this dry, and then after this dry, I'll bring you back and we'll start on some of the base trees, and I'll bring you back once it's dry. Okay everyone, I'm back. It looks like everything is dried. What I've done since it's dried, I have took some chalk and just kind of lined out where my trees are going to go. I have this one, which is going to be the main tree. I've took it up to this portion of the page, so it is certainly going to be the tallest. This one is going to be, I think I'm going to try to bring it a little closer, we'll see. And this one a little smaller, and I may have to push it back based on the landscape. But anyway, nonetheless, that is where we are going to go with the tree. I'm just looking for a brush that I think I'm going to use. And I mean, maybe just a little bit too big to begin. I really like the soft brushes, just a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to take some of the burnt umber and the green and mix it together just to make it dark, but a little more on the green side. Dip my brush in some water. And I think I'm just going to maybe start at the top here. Not really sure, you know, where this is going, but we'll figure it out once it gets there. So I'm just kind of tapping in some color. You know, I don't want it to be like straight, you know, just lines. And then get just a little more paint on my brush. And certainly I will have to come in and darken this up. And also possibly, of course, I'll have to bring it out and adjust the branches on it. Just kind of tapping down the brush, just randomly. I don't want it really to look too uniform right now. It just looks like a little skinny tree, but mixing up some more burnt umber with the green. It may be a little bit more on my green shade. Either way, it'll be fine. I'll give it a little contrast. Of course, too, down here towards the bottom, it is certainly going to be a little bit darker than, per se, what it would be. Bring that one down straight. And I'm just kind of going back up. This one is certainly going to probably be the star of the show. Mixing just a little bit more. Now bringing the limbs out just to kind of even its shape out just a little bit. And also when I'm mixing, I'm trying to mix the colors just a little bit darker than what I did in the initial. Just kind of working on the branches and making them, moving them a little farther apart, like out. Making the tree look a little bit more larger, even, and also it will, because it is the size it is, it will also bring it forward to us. I like that. So I think I'm just going to, I have just a touch of phthalo blue left. I think I'm going to mix just a little bit of the phthalo blue in with all of this. Burnt umber along with the green, and I'm just going in, making it even more darker. But trying to also keep it random while I'm doing it. I'm going to dip my brush into some water. And I certainly want to darken it up here towards the bottom because we're at the base. It's going to be darker at the base. Alright, I have that pretty dark. I'm going to leave that just like it is and actually start working on the other trees. I think I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more of the phthalo blue I have out. Put some more out for me because I'm still going to be mixing to do these other trees. Initially in my reference photo, the 2 trees off to the side are pines and the middle one is not, but that is the beauty of inspiration. You can change it if you don't want it. So I wanted these to be pines. This time I am going to probably add just a little bit of phthalo green. Actually, it was probably quite a bit of phthalo green. And I am going to, I'm going to change my brush size too. I'm going to go a little bit smaller so I can kind of control a little bit better the size of these trees and I don't get carried away. So I will start with this one that is out here. Let me take another peek at my reference photo, and I definitely don't want this one to be as it does look a little brighter. I'll have to darken it because it needs to be darker. But as I said, he's not the star of the show. And change some of the shape of the tree. Just to make it look a little more like a tree. So it looks like I'm pretty pleased with that. It is probably a little closer to us, but I will change that. In fact, I will probably go in and change some of that now and add some of this brighter green in this mix to the larger tree and just bring it a little more forward because I'm going to go in and add some more colors to it. This is just the dark of the story, and it will certainly have some highlights put on it. I'm going to wet my brush again just so it goes a little better. But I'm putting some of this phthalo green in here. It's really beautiful. Just some of these outer edges. Making the tree look a little fuller, but with this beautiful phthalo green. Too, also you have the light behind it and it's shining through these cracks and you may be able to see it a little bit better. Alright. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to mix up a little bit more burnt umber because I'm going to do the tree off to the far right, which is going to be a little bigger but not as big as the one on the far left. Just mixing up some colors here. And I have it up that far. I think I'm going to leave it up that far. So we'll start there. Seeing some water on the end I need to get off. I'm just kind of going down. I don't want to get too far out yet because I don't know how, I don't want to pull this tree, you know, too much forward. So I'm just trying to keep it small and dark as well, because as I said, this one is farther out. Let me add a little bit of green just to offset. Okay. Just kind of making some different random shapes, which gives the illusion of this tree. As I said, not the star of the show. And I'm going to widen out the base just a little bit. Brighten that up so. Alright. I like that. I think that looks really good. I am going to go ahead and start mixing some new colors. I'm going to take some of the titanium white and mix with the phthalo green. More probably phthalo green than white, because it'll be about 3 shades. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to even try that. I'll use this size brush on this one. Certainly, you know, I don't want this to cover all of the dark that is here on this tree, because it is, you know, like a shadow. So I'm going to go in and just covering it up, making and I don't want to do the whole thing either. Using a smaller brush than I did, because it'll help me control the amount of, or the size of, that I'm using to lighten this up just a little bit. That way I'm not wanting to cover the whole thing, because it's really, really easy to get carried away. I think I'm going to darken that up just a little bit. It's really easy to get, you know, carried away with, you know, adding some extra stuff. And I may also, I'm actually using a little bit of the darker closer to the bottom, because obvious reasons. It is, the light is behind this tree, so closer to us it's going to be a little more on the dark. I'm just kind of cleaning up the middle here some. The trees on the, that's farther away, let me get a small, even a smaller brush on top of that, so I can actually make it. Alright. I have a lot of phthalo green and just a small, very tinge amount of the other green. I'm just going to go in, being that this one is actually a little bit closer. I'm just going in and adding a little bit of color. looks like I've gotten some water that has, so I'll just use that to my advantage. I just want to put in just a little bit of contrast of color. Don't want to go overboard because this one is a little farther back. And I'm just giving you the impression of some of the highlights of this tree because it is setting a little farther back. It's still pretty dark though, but it does have some warmer tones to it. Alright, I'm going to take just a little bit of the burnt umber with phthalo. Mix in a different spot. I actually put some of the permanent green with phthalo and a little bit of burnt umber. Don't want to change this really too much, but you know, give it a little bit of a change. Don't want to lighten it up because it is so far out. And grab just a small amount. And put just a few. And some of this actually may even go over and push it a little, even push this tree back some. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to definitely let it dry and then go from there. Alright, so now I'm going to take a significant amount of white and mix with the phthalo green. I even have just a small amount, very small amount of the phthalo blue in there in that mixture. And I'm just going to go and add, I may even put just a little bit more white than that in it. I'll whiten it up just a little. And that way we got a decent little contrast here. It's like snow kind of setting, you know, on this. Doing it down like this because that and make that branch look like it's actually facing. And I will move over and do one this way. Wetting my brush, just mixing up a little bit more of it with the permanent green, phthalo green, and just a touch of phthalo blue. Not very much at all. Still gonna go in and, you know, make it look like there's just snow setting. But with the light shining behind it, it should not be just straight white. I could, in theory, go in on top of this and still may do it and just add just white almost it. Let me change this one, make this one look like it's facing us. And move that over and kind of think about how the tree is, how these branches might look if I was standing straight and looking at them. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that one on out. And I'm kind of putting this, you know, in random places. I'm giving you the illusion, or the illusion that there's a lot more going on with this tree. There's a lot more branches, it's shaded. I mean, it just makes it look like it's, you know, this is a pretty bushy looking tree. So certainly do like, and I will move some of this thicker. Alright, so this one you have, which is pretty dark, it's way back there, so you just see just a smidge of tone on it, not much. I'm just going to go in and tap some of this very, very lightest green that I have. Mix just a tinge more white with it. I'm just going to, you know, kind of put it on this side a little bit because the light source. But I don't want it to be I don't want to overdo it. Just simply because of the light source. But this one, maybe just a nudge. I'll put just barely anything on it. Try not to get in the way. Just kind of lighten up. It's probably too much. And it is too much, so just want to wipe some of it off before it gets on there too good. Okay, all I did was just the light source. So you see some snow, you see everything kind of gleaming through. Probably what I'll do after this dries, I may even go in and do it now, is go in and add just some straight white on top, just where the light is kind of shining. And of course this one is closer to us. You've got the shadows on both sides. So I will, after this dries, I will bring you back and we will go from there. I will go in and add some light and we'll work on the base shading. Okay, it looks like everything is just about dry. I'm going to take some of my titanium white and mix just a little bit of yellow in it. And I'm just going to just tap some stuff in here. Don't even know if I want too much of it in. Just to kind of bring in some of the highlight areas here. Yeah, I don't know how much of it I really want in there because I'm pretty satisfied with the shading I have on there. I actually think this one is just a bit much. So I'm just gonna draw off my brush just a little bit. And I take and dab and pull some of that back up. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that. I don't, it's just a little bit of like, almost like the, you know, it's shining through, the sun shining through, or the moon shining through, or whatever. I'm just going to get just a little bit and dabbing right there. Just kind of in some of the closer little areas. And it begins to get darker. Just based on the circle, it's going to get darker, of course, towards the base. From there, I want to mix some stuff up and actually push this tree. Try to push it back just a little bit. So I'm back to my number 8 bright, and I'm going to wet it and I'm going to pick up some dark phthalo blue with just a little bit of white in it, not much. And I'm going to build this up just a little bit like let's just pull it in here. And then this one, I'm going to go over it just a tinge. It's like a snowbank. And push it back just a little bit. I'm going to some more green on my palette. I think I'm going to go in and maybe pull some of this down. Go ahead and add some of the green back in. Once I get this snow built back, just want to push it back just a little bit. So I'm going to use just some dark, because it's going to be pretty dark under. Gotta fix my direction of stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna take some white, actually mostly white, and just a little bit on my brush, and actually I probably should have mixed that with just a little bit of blue. And that's what I'll do, I'll mix it just a little bit of blue, and add some of this back in. And so I'm going to change my brush size now and go back to a much smaller brush. It helps me control how much of the white is going to be in there. And I'm just going to kind of go in and do a little bit of highlights here and there with it. So this one I'm going to have just some straight white. I want to, you know, bring your eye and of course my eye forward. I want to try to keep it a little random too, but I want it to kind of have some sort of shape, so you can tell that there's a heel here. Maybe just a little bit. And then, of course, I'm rinsing my brush, and I'm going to go and get just phthalo. And change the contrast here. Looks very cold in this picture. I'm just going to deepen some of the shadows. It will make everything else pop. It's going to make everything else pop by putting these shadows in there. And I'm getting into some of the white too. It'll help with some of the blending. I'm not really worried about the blending. I think it looks good. And of course, look, it's a much deeper blue in the back. Alright, I am pretty happy with the picture. And now it is time to sign it. And then after you sign it, of course, I'm going to let it finish drying. But you can go ahead and feel free to sign your work, which I will be signing. And just as soon as there it is, I'm going to take some of this phthalo blue with a touch of white. Not much white though. And I may end up having to do it with something else. I probably will. I'll just do it with something else. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. And please like and subscribe. Until next time.